Okay, I'm going to go over Maya's human IK. Reach that, hitting this button, or going in the rigging menu and going to skeleton, quick rig, or human IK. So we'll start out with the quick rig. Just like the geometry, hit auto rig. Okay, that looks pretty good. This doesn't have hands. This is in the wrong spot. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, the joint placement is probably not that great, but that's a real quick way to get that started. This is the interface, like the head. I'll get back to that later. So that was one click. Human IK, let's do step by step. So first add the geometry. So imperfect mesh means there's a hole in your mesh. It's good not to have that. Watertight mesh. So these are guide settings. So you can have 3 spine, 1 neck, 1 clavicle, or you can increase those numbers. You can also have hip translation. Okay, I'm just going to hit create. Now these are my guides. So I want to place these right position, right where the knee is. A little bit higher here. I want to bring this forward a little bit. And this one I want here. This one over here. You want to think of it as like a tube bending. So if this is a tube, the chest is one tube, and then the stomach is another tube. Just a little bit. And then also, you want to think of it as when the tube bends, it's half of it is going one direction and the other half is going another direction. So we want to get this divided line, if you can see that, for it to go down, this part to go down and bend, and this part not to. Let's see. And the same goes with the elbow. Put this a little bit more center. If you can see up here, snap to center is It's right there. And then you can mirror. And it matches. Oh wait, I didn't do the head. Okay, so the neck. Okay, do the quick rig. Okay, now this gives me FK and IK controls. And then this, and it lets me use this interface. And then finally I'll do a skin. Let's see what the option. Oh, so these options. Let me just go to the skinning. So if you go to bind skin, so bind method, geodesic voxel, that is really good for things that are outside the mesh, or outside the character. Let's see if I can get an example. So something like this. Oops. This is good for geodesic voxel. Geodesic voxel. It basically gets a voxelized location of each geometry. Like the hat isn't necessarily inside a joint, or the clothes and all that stuff. It's not a closed capsule. And then also heat map. Heat map is really good. That I use for only for the body, and then I transfer the weights from the body to the outer clothing. Okay, so let's turn this back off. So this is pretty much ready to go. So it would still need some weights painted, but the easiest part about this is the controls are already done for you. So here's FK, which is rotation. Here's IK. And again, there isn't any hands in this example. Quick rig is just a matter of getting things going. Okay, let me trash this. Let's just start from scratch here. So let's do create a skeleton. And I'll leave it at the default settings. Okay, start from the hips, a little bit higher. I want this right where the ankle is. And this one I want right where the toes are. Like that. And then let's go to right where the chest is. If you did your geometry right, you should be able to line up. There should be a line that divides each half of the, basically the arm. That's a tube. The way the knuckles are, they kind of sit back in the hand. So you can see you want the top part of the joint to at least be halfway up. And let's do this thumb. So this is right where the knuckle should be, right there. something like that. Just want to make sure. So the way I modeled this, it should line up. So each little knuckle. Let's see. Okay, that looks good. Let's do the neck. We'll do the base of the neck. And then you want to do just right below the ear. And then let me mirror it. Get these right. Let's see. This can come over a little bit more. I want to hit right where that knee starts. So this can go that way, and this can go that way. So each bend can go its own direction. Let me just double check my orientations. This thumb is a big one too, so let's just see that. Let's go ahead and select everything. So now X is going down and Y is up. Oops. So let's just turn these back off. Okay, so I take our skeleton, select every joint, go to bind skin, and we're going to do heat map. and maintain max influences. I'm going to turn that off. Select the mesh. Okay. So now, so that was the skeleton menu here. And now we're going to definition. So basically, the definition lets you apply mocap and apply the control rig. So these yellow ones are, say that the right arm doesn't seem to be parallel in the x-axis, which, if you can see, it kind of dips. Anyways, lock it down. And then this says custom rig or create control rig. A custom rig means you already have your controls defined. So let's create one. And that gives us this guy being able to move. And then to briefly go over this, the controls. So this is, let's turn off this. Okay. So this is the FK or IK, which means this translates, and you can do stuff like move the foot, and then also lock down. Where the foot is, so there's not feed sliding. That's with these pins here. It says pin translation and pin rotation. You can see there still needs to be some weight painting here, but it gets most of it done. And then this little stick figure guy puts you back into your T-pose. And then and then this is your FK, which is all rotation. So stuff like when you're doing a walk cycle, you want to do the arms in FK, so then they're swinging, not translating, and it looks more natural. And then there's the skeleton. And then there's full body and body part and selection. So let's turn these back on. So full body lets you do stuff like this, whereas body part is just moving one part. If you want to use animation layers, you should be using body part. And then if you are using the full body and you key something, you are keying the whole body. So keep that in mind. Let's see. The name of your character, so you can go to rename your character. I'll name him Tim. You keep track of them, and then I'm going to say change the character to none, and then I'm going to import animation example, and you get this little karate guy in here. So you can do Tim. So this is basically this mocap data, so it's the same thing with the character definition. And then we'll say Tim, and then the source is this character. So then it automatically goes to this character, and then it basically follows it along with it. And that's how to like retarget mocap data and stuff like that. If you wanted to, you can do bake to skeleton or bake to control rig. If you bake to control rig, you can continue to edit. If you want to bake to the skeleton, then you would export it to a game engine as a FBX. And then, so now I only have my vine skin, this character, and it's just joints. So if there's ever a scenario where you have the joints and you don't have a character definition, you need to create one. And basically, you can right click, name match, and do this in the outliner. So it says left arm. Oh, that's left hand. Okay. Oh, okay, and then this actually mirrors across. So let's go back to the other menu. So, okay. Start with the hips. Okay. So you can do stuff like right click and assign selected bones, or change assigned bones, or clear. I want to put my toe in there. So if you double click and then you select it in the viewport, that's another way to assign it. Okay, so just going to quickly go through these. Okay, thumb. Okay, and get the spine. chemical. And neck. And head. And then this one is the root joint, which is this locator at the bottom. And then we'll lock it down, create a control rig, and there you go. Okay, let's say this is your character. Okay, we'll just put the hip down here. Make sure it's inside the geometry. Okay. Let's just rotate this real quick. Oops, oh, I forgot to mirror it. Okay. Now let's okay, so that's basically what it's going to look like. Let's see if I can do the reference point. Oh, won't let me do that. Okay, let's move it so it's level. Okay. So I'm just going to bind the skin real quick. I'll change that to geodesic voxel. Apply. And now, when you create a skeleton from this menu option, it automatically defines the skeleton for you, skeleton definition. And then all you have to do is lock it down and then create control rig. So then again, it needs some weights, but it's already looking pretty good. So the premise is the legs don't do anything. They don't have any influence on anything, but it's a good way to get these controls really quick. Without trying to rig everything. This is a rig of quadruped. Human IK prefers a biped, which makes it basically a human, or somebody that walks on two legs. Quadruped is possible. You sort of have to do it in motion builder to characterize it there and then bring it over. But there's some good benefits to having a quadruped with human IK. Stuff like the feet locking and the hands locking, and then also the IK and FK matching. This is a problem with most rigs. And then you can see that I set up the skeleton. Controls for the tail and the ears. Those are separate in the mouth. But yeah. So you can see so you kind of want the feet to be able to lock, so then your walk cycle isn't slipping and sliding. And then I also put the forward direction on a layer. So, yep, that's it. That's human IK in a nutshell. Thanks for watching.